Collision repair shops often face a moral dilemma. If you disagree with the insurance company on the best way to repair a vehicle to pre-loss condition, do you cave into the insurer's demands or stand your ground? As the BodyShop Business 2023 industry profile notes, 74% of body shops believe they lose business due to insurer steering. So getting on the wrong side of an agency can be costly. But is it worth the cost of your principles? Clay Hoberecht, owner of Best Body Shop in Wichita, Kansas, doesn't think so. Integrity is at the heart of his shop's operations. And like the red hot chili peppers, he's ready to fight like a brave to repair his customers' vehicles the right way.
One sentence, describe the industry.
Oh, come on.
Yep, no, blow immediately, but see if you can do it. One sentence.
Gloves off?
Yeah, sure.
PG version.
Okay.
In a dumpster.
In a dumpster. Okay, well, that's a hell of a starting place here.
Yeah.
I appreciate the reality.
Sure.
But again, there's always some balance here. Let's start with, what do you think it's doing right? Like, what are the silver linings in that dark cloud that you just rolled in here?
So, I mean, what I have seen lately is the manufacturers, the OEMs, the manufacturers are communicating more clear on how to repair their vehicles. And it's getting better and better and better. I will tell you that I've been in the industry for about 20 some years now, 21 years. And repairing a vehicle based on the manufacturer's guidelines has been challenging because there's not a whole lot of clarity, or there hasn't been a whole lot of clarity on what they mean on certain areas. What I am seeing in the industry today is they are clarifying that more and more every day.
Do you have just an example of that?
I remember sitting down with a few of my staff members, and we're in the office at the end of the day, and we literally looked up the definition of collision because there were repair procedures that were stating that there were certain safety inspections. And this is back when people are just now starting to learn about these safety inspections, and some of these inspections meant that you had to remove the entire interior out of the vehicle, the SRS system, the airbags. You have to reinstall all that stuff with a lot of times new hardware, because it was one-time use hardware. There was calibrations that were involved, interior pieces that were involved. I mean, Toyotas, the seat covers are actually coming off and then putting back on. And it was all based on one word, collision. If your vehicle is involved in a collision. And so we're sitting there going, well, what constitutes a collision? And so again, that's some of the clarity that is still needed to be brought to the industry, but there are definitely more lines being, steering columns that are collapsible. Chevrolet's done, from my understanding, a pretty good job of going from a very gray understanding of when an inspection is needed to more identifying when the energy transfers to a certain particular part. That's when that inspection is needed. And so when you're dealing with multiple manufacturers that are all engineered and designed differently with different safety aspects, different technologies, and your responsibility is to ensure that your customer gets in that car and is safe in a subsequent accident, it's a big burden to carry. And so, I think that's what I mean by clarity.
What do you think is really the biggest challenges the industry is facing, and where would you like to see it overcome those?
I'll just, vehicles need to be repaired based on manufacturer's guidelines because the engineers have designed that vehicle to absorb energy and divert that energy away and around an occupant. And at the same time, read that energy at hundreds of thousands of seconds and communicate to the restraint system that saves your life. At the same time, that restraint system can also potentially end that life if it's not used in the right timing. So, when you ask me what's wrong, well, what's wrong is I don't see very many body shops repairing cars solely based on the manufacturer's guidelines. Most body shops don't even know how to access that information, let alone know how to navigate through it, let alone know how to implement it in a shop setting. Now, my immediate question after that is why not? There's just a lot of corruption in our industry. There's a lot of, it's a lot of focus on money instead of safety. Something that we say at our shop quite often to our clients is there's some things that are worth more than money, and your safety is one of them. You couldn't pay us to repair a car incorrectly. In fact, we've had cars picked up and towed to other shops because we would not go against the manufacturer's guidelines.
Well, and that theme of doing the right thing, right? There's a very clear right way to do this. How do you instill that in your shop and make sure that you're as you're getting more clarity, as these practices are changing and vehicles are changing and we got new powertrains and different designs and engineering, how do you stay on top of that?
Well, again, it's the attention to the culture, building a base of trust that's focused on what's best for, if you're selfless in your relationship with your loved ones or the people that you work with, then they don't ever have to wonder if you're telling them to do something to better you and hurt them.
Right. Tell me about the trust, right? And how you go about earning that, because trust is a thing that it easily lost, hard earned, and I feel like we earn it every day in a lot of ways too. Can you get even just an example of how your shop runs a little differently in terms of that trust aspect?
Yeah. So it's really about love, and I know that sounds really weird and soft. And as Simon Sinek says, it sounds ooey gooey, but it's anything but that. If you want to see real results in any kind of organizational, or relational period at all, you're going to have a certain amount of trust and love. What the best example or the best thing that I can think of, Pat wrote a book called Getting Naked. The majority of people have been trained to almost self-protect in almost every setting, period. And if you can get a team to actually show up and just get naked emotionally with each other and with you, then you can actually find the problems in your organization faster. You can fix those problems. You can actually be more productive, because there's so much energy that goes into politics of, if I say this, that might offend this, but if you get, and so a lot of times we attribute it to, or we go back as an example to a relationship with your husband or your wife, and go, do you ever hesitate to say what's really on your mind? And those that are in a good relationship say, no, I care about that person. I want that person. There's no hold back, and that builds a good relationship. How you implement it is you go first. And that's really hard. Because as a management or as an owner, just like the staff, you're trained, especially if you're around other owners, that don't let them see you sweat and don't let them see you get nervous. And so that first meeting that you go into and you go, hey guys, I just want to be 100% honest. We don't have enough money in the account to make payroll this week, and I'm freaking out. And I don't know how to handle this emotion. And what it does, you see this team start to go, whoa, this is real. He's being real with us. I can be real. And so somebody will raise their hand and go, hey, we've been actually painting the wrong way this whole time, and I've just been really scared to bring it up because I know it's your friend that we use this and this and this. Or, hey, that car we repaired the other day for your friend, we didn't charge enough. We should have. And so what it ends up doing is you create this openness to where people can be honest, and there's this base of trust that we don't have to worry about what each other is going to do against each other. The people that I have in my corner care more about their legacy and their what would be the word, their legitimacy than they do about our relationship. So in other words, they're going to be honest with me whether I like it or not, whether it hurts the relationship or not. And that makes a huge difference, because in the position I am as the owner, I have a lot of people that yes man me, and a lot of people that might not want to be 100% honest, and they don't care. And I'm telling you right now, I've had some serious hard conversations of things that I've made mistakes on, and they were the only ones that actually had the balls to actually say something.
Retraining staff to speak up isn't the only mental reprogramming the best body shop has to do. Because Clay runs his shops the right way, that is, repairing a car to pre-loss condition per the manufacturer's guidelines, no matter what shortcuts insurers might want to take, he often finds it difficult to hire industry veterans who might be set in their ways.
The other thing that we do is we really hire outside of the industry as much as possible. Love it or hate it, at the end of the day, the majority of the collision repair industry is full of people that have been doing it the wrong way for so long that it's a practice now. And so to retrain that out of people is what we have found to be more of a challenging mountain to climb than just training the right way from the beginning. Currently at the shop that we have right now at Best Body Shop, we have one person that came from another shop. Everybody else has had careers in other areas, and our focus has always been on the culture. We live by three things: humble, hungry, and smart. That's what would like. That's the bar you have to be able to pass to be able to fit within our shop. And so when you're able to go through an interview process and we identify, is this person humble enough? You know, is this person selfless? You know, are they hungry to change and to drive? And even if everybody else is doing it another way, are they hungry enough to continue doing it the way that no one else is? And are they smart? And the smart isn't just intelligence, it's emotional intelligence. Do they know that their words mean something? So whenever they join this bubble that we have, do they understand that they're a part of the either hurting or helping that organization? It's almost to the point now where somebody comes in and goes, oh, I've got 20 years experience. Whereas most shops would look at that and get pretty excited, we actually look at that going, well, that's going to be a challenge.
With so many businesses across the automotive industry grumbling about the technician shortage, Clay's attitude towards experienced techs might seem strange. However, his own struggles of trying to break into the collision industry informed much of his mindset. And Clay has a plan for getting those humble, hungry, and smart job candidates up to speed on their repair skills.
So we have a training program that we put them through. We have a kid that Grayson's his name. We just hired him. He worked at a detail shop before our shop, and he wanted to, he wants to be a body man. He wants to move into the industry. So we started him out as an apprentice, and he stuck around with Ian, which is one of our, he's a part of our leadership team. He's a disassembly tech. And again, this is where he's learning the disassembly position. I actually stopped by the shop right before flying out here. And he was underneath a lift by himself, and I looked over at Ian. I'm like, he's by himself. He goes, that's his first one. So he's, Ian's working in the bay right next to him, watching him, but he's already been under Ian's wing for such a long time that now he's starting to get on his own. And so I go over, pat him on his back. It's like, hey man, good luck, bud. And he's like, oh, man, I'm nervous, It's fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No Walmart third shift required then there for you. Huh? Yeah, you'll bring them on and you'll teach them.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, one thing I do want to touch on here lastly, because I know it's a topic that I get to talk about, insurer relationships. What's your take on that? What do you want other body shops to be aware of or maybe learn from you?
So I think I have a reputation for being like an anti-insurance guy. I make a lot of videos, a lot of consumer education about helping people through the mess that just working with an insurance claim can create.
Welcome to Best Body Shop, where we don't rely on luck. What do we mean by that? It doesn't take luck to work for you, not the insurance company.
But here's what I truly believe. The insurers are not the problem. It's the body shops that are allowing the problem to happen. So, you can look at a car that gets incorrectly repaired and you can blame, ABC, insurance company for dictating that repair, but you were the one that performed it. And so, when I go to my doctor and my doctor does a surgery that's incorrect and he sits there and points his finger to somebody other than himself, I'm going to look at him and go, dude, your tools were in your hands and I trusted you. So I think in the collision repair business, what I'd like to see is more accountability and more responsibility that you can't blame somebody else. 20 years ago, you're dealing with cars that didn't have computers like they do today. And they didn't have engineering like they did today. So a lot of the back and forths that happen with insurance companies, it was a negotiable kind of a thing. Hey, Jim, does it take 4 hours to fix that fender, or can you get it done in 2? And there's just kind of back and forth. And no doubt, an insurance company wants to save as much money as they can while bringing in as much policies as they possibly can. That's just business. That's capitalism, and I'm all about it. I'm a capitalist myself. I think that at the end of the day, I want them to make money and be successful. But I don't want them to sacrifice my customer safety or my ethics and morals to do so. And I don't put that on their shoulders. I put that on my shoulders. That's my responsibility to create and execute what needs to happen in the repair that my client trusted me with. And that boils down to, well, do you know how to do it or not? And if you really are at the crutch of an insurance company telling you what to do, well, then you probably ought to second guess, your relationship with your business, period, whether you should even be in it or not. Listen, this industry is exceptionally challenging. We talked about, starting another company with the beef. That feels like a dream compared to the collision repair industry. You've got multiple manufacturers that are creating and designing vehicles. Then you have insurers that are multiple insurers. Then you have all these customers. Then you have your entire staff, and you have different years of tenure and mentality. And it's a moving object that's not, oh, by the way, when you learn this, you're good to go. I mean, it's very well known that manufacturers change how to repair vehicles, sometimes on a daily basis. So you could repair a car today, and tomorrow it could be the wrong way. So, all of that in motion as a business is exceptionally challenging to overcome. And the learning aspect is what I've learned is I've been in the industry for a long time, for a decent amount of time. You have to put your pride off to the side, humble yourself and say, maybe you don't have it all figured out. And sometimes when you think you do have it figured out and you want to do it in a way that is not in line with the manufacturers, sometimes you have to just shut up and say, hey, you didn't design the vehicle. You're going to be responsible for it though after it leaves your hands. So you better follow whoever did design that vehicle in case there is an accident.
Right. Okay. I'm going to have you take us out of here on a high note.
Good.
Okay, because what you're doing is really interesting too. You're bringing people into the industry. Clearly, you have a love for the industry and want to see it succeed and grow and improve. So, for body shops that would be looking for advice on bringing people into the industry, what is the pitch to bring people into this industry? What is yes, there are challenges, but we're going to go overcome them kind of thing?
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to leave on a high note, but I got to tell you a story. I got invited to an association meeting. I won't say which association it is, but I went down there to do some media with them and do some social media stuff. And the night before the actual convention, they had like a trade show of some sort. They had a board meeting, and they said, hey, you can join our board meeting. You sit at the end of the table. And so I'm sitting there, just with my water or whatever, watching the board talk about different topics in their particular state. And the tech shortage came around, and everyone started talking about the tech shortage. And from one guy, he talks about, well, these techs are, it's hard to find, and ABC Body Shop over here is soaking them all in with these huge bonuses. And then you'll go to the next person and, oh, well, it's the high schools that are telling these students to not go into the collision repair business. There's no money in it. They kept going over and over and over. And it was just like this excuse session. And I finally raised my hand. They kind of looked at the end of the table to me and they said, what? And I said, it could be because the collision repair industry sucks. And it was like this silence. And I said, and you're in charge of changing that. At the end of the day, you ask a technician to come in, get educated on repairing a car correctly, Then you ask them to repair the car incorrectly because you're insurance partners. All the while you're sitting on a boat somewhere else, complaining about the insurance company that's really hurting the technicians and not you. So you want to see a change in how you bring technicians into your business. How about you change how their lives are? And so again, every technician that I've ever talked to, I've never met a technician that wants to repair a car incorrectly. I've never seen a technician that's like, oh, well, I just don't want to change. In fact, they love some of the new technology and some of the new tools. But I get a significant amount of phone calls, emails, text messages through Instagram and Facebook, all from technicians and managers that all say the same thing. I wish we could do the right thing. I wish we could do the right thing. Wish we could do the right thing. So if you ask how to bring people into the industry, there's not going to be a silver bullet or a magic wand. You're going to actually have to do things that are challenging for you to make their life easier. In other words, buy the tools and equipment that it takes to repair cars correctly, train your technicians, and then allow them to do their job correctly. And whatever you have to do in the office between you, your customer, and the insurance company, that's why you're the owner. Figure it out.
The battle between insurers and collision repair shops is a long and seemingly never-ending one. But change can't come in an industry if its own people are afraid to stand up and fight back. Clay Hoberecht is singing his anthem into the mic for all his fellow shop owners to hear. And that's what makes him a vehicle care rock star.
I'm an 18-wheeler with a throttle pinned down and a brake line cut, just a screaming through your town. Well, I'm a runaway ghost